When you hear the name Barangaroo, no doubt this is what comes to mind. Or maybe this. But probably not this. Gamilargal woman Barangaroo. She ruled Sydney Harbour in the late 1700s, around the time when the first fleet arrived. Wife of senior Eora man Bennelong and leader of the area's fishing group, Barangaroo was a strong woman.
She stood up against the settlers, so the colonial invading settlement that was there was something she railed against, unlike Bennelong, who went along with it. But so she was basically a bit of a warrior.
In 2006, a public competition was held to name the area east of Darling Harbour after the government decided to turn the old shipping wharves into an urban precinct. Barangaroo was chosen from 1,600 entries as a tribute to her influence over the area. The site will be home to James Packer's multi-million-dollar casino development, as well as a restoration of the area's historic foreshore, championed by former Prime Minister Paul Keating.
We're giving Sydney back in the 21st century a new city park.
But Aboriginal elders say this Stonehenge-style sculpture erected at the northern tip of the park is no way to pay tribute to Sydney's Aboriginal matriarchy.
It's totally inappropriate from our cultural point of view. I certainly would say to you it's not something that we would have liked to have seen and certainly don't like seeing. It has no place or significance or component of our culture that we'd like represented down there.
The Barangaroo Delivery Authority has received complaints from some elders claiming the sandstone blocks used in the sculpture are phallic-shaped and undermine the site's sacredness.
We weren't actually consulted, and given our role, given the background that it's a very well-known, articulated, documented evidence that we are very, very much a culture that's based upon an expertise in sculpturing and landscaping, in particular arranging stone arrangements, that we wouldn't have been consulted.
The Delivery Authority says the sculpture has only been put up on a trial basis and that it consulted with and received feedback from the indigenous community on the stones and will take that feedback into account as work on the park continues. The local Aboriginal Land Council says there are better ways to acknowledge the true local culture.
I'd like to think that over the long run we'll be able to get something that's a lot more appropriate, move what's currently there away. And what we'd like to see is a sculpture or some type of monument to honour Barangaroo herself.
I think it should just be acknowledged for reasons of social justice and just out of courtesy, you know, for people who are still here and the descendants of people who were here for so long before anyone else arrived.
The nation's first National Indigenous Cultural Centre will take pride of place in Headland Park, which it's hoped will help better educate the public about our country's first inhabitants.
We've been in-depthly consulted in terms of the Barangaroo's area that they've set aside to look at a cultural precinct, in particular the proposal to develop a national Aboriginal cultural centre.
The park and cultural centre are due for completion next year. Jason Fallow, UTS News.